Welcome to The Explainer. So today, we're diving into a project that is frankly shaking things up. We're talking about a YouTuber who took a look at some super high-tech military gear and then just reverse engineered it for basically pennies on the dollar. All right, let's just put a number out there to start. $20,000. That is what you typically shell out for a military-grade IP mesh radio. These are the rugged, go-anywhere devices that are used for absolutely critical communications in some of the most demanding places imaginable. Okay, now hold that 20 grand number in your head and compare it to this, $106.23. Yeah, you heard that right. That is the grand total this YouTuber spent on parts to build his very own open source version. And what he achieved is, well, it's pretty remarkable. And look, this wasn't just some weekend project that got a few likes. Oh no, this thing got so much attention that the US military, the actual US military, contacted him not to shut him down, but to ask for advice. So the big question is, what in the world did he build that got the Pentagon's attention? Okay, let's break this down. At the core of it all, the device he built is what's called a single node in something known as a manet. Now, that sounds super technical, right? Manet. But the idea behind it is actually kind of beautiful in its simplicity. Just think about it like this. You're creating your own private, portable internet, a network that you completely own and control. You don't need cell towers, you don't need an ISP, you don't need to ask permission from anyone. And maybe the most surprising thing about this whole build is what's inside. The components are, well, they're things you can just go out and buy. We're talking a Raspberry Pi 4, some open source software, a few off-the-shelf cards, and batteries. This isn't some unobtainable, classified military hardware. It's stuff that, anyone with a bit of know-how and determination can get their hands on and put together. So the real magic here is how it all connects together. You just connect your phone to one of these nodes with regular old Wi-Fi, like you're at a coffee shop. But then that little box uses a special long-range signal. It's called Wi-Fi Halo, to chat with other nodes, potentially miles away. And what you get is this amazing, decentralized, self-healing network that actually gets stronger and more robust the more people join in. Okay, so the theory is absolutely incredible, but, how does it hold up in the real world? What can this freedom tech, as he calls it, actually do? Well, to find out, he took it completely off-grid. We're talking a total signal dead zone. First things first, he had to run some benchmarks, right? See what the performance was like. And the results? They were seriously impressive. His little DIY build was consistently hitting the absolute maximum theoretical speeds for Wi-Fi Halo, no matter which channel width he used. That's a huge deal. It proves that the hardware and the software were playing together perfectly. So with that raw performance totally confirmed, it was time for the real test, the ultimate test. He took just two of these nodes, a Starlink dish, and headed out into a complete cellular dead zone. The mission? Create a long-range internet network, right there, from scratch. So here's the setup. He plonks down the first node to act as a base station, right there in this off-grid park. He plugs it directly into a Starlink dish, and boom. Just like that, his little private mesh network now has a gateway, an uplink to the entire internet. Then, he just started walking. He puts nearly half a mile between himself and that base station, pulls out the second node, and runs a speed test. And get this, he still had a solid, totally usable internet connection, in a place where, just moments before, there was absolutely zero signal. Nothing. And this is the part that just feels surreal. That connection, almost half a mile away from his Starlink, was stable enough to stream YouTube. I mean, let that sink in. This isn't just for sending little text messages back and forth. This is a legitimate, high-bandwidth internet connection built for $100. So you can see, this is way more than just a cool tech demo. The potential applications here they're powerful, they're practical, and they're even tactical. See, because this thing creates a full IP network, you can run the exact same kind of sophisticated software that special forces and search and rescue teams use. We're talking about apps like Attack that give you a live map, letting everyone share their position and send messages. You can throw in push-to-talk voice comms, you can stream live video from a drone, and you can do all of it on your own private network, locked down with modern WPA3 encryption. So what's the big picture here? What does all this mean, really?
I mean, why should the average person care about building a more resilient, independent way to communicate?
Well, to really get why this is such a breakthrough, it helps to compare it to other off-grid tech you might have heard of. Things like LoRa or Meshtastic. Now, those are fantastic for sending low-power texts and GPS data. But Wi-Fi Halo? It's playing a completely different ballgame. If Meshtastic is your digital walkie-talkie, this is your portable internet router for the absolute middle of nowhere. And that, right there, is the real takeaway. This whole project is proof that the tools to create these incredibly powerful, independent, user-owned networks, they're getting cheaper and more accessible every single day. This is all about taking back control of how we connect with each other. There's this quote from the creator that just captures the spirit of this project perfectly. It's all about empowering regular people to build their own connectivity. In a world that's so dependent on giant, centralized infrastructure, a little $100 box that lets you say, look at me, I am the ISP now, well, that isn't just a gadget, that's a quiet revolution.